Hey guys, this is Canon Exercise 79, and today I'm doing the refugium build you guys have been requesting on YouTube. And I've been getting a lot of comments, a lot of suggestions. Some people wanted me to make it in English again, in Spanish. But the whole reason I'm doing this video is because I want to kind of go over the overall tools and equipment that we're going to be using on this sump refugium. This sump I had made a couple months back. It's a 15-gallon refugium, and I did a 3-baffle and 3-baffle on this side with an adjustable for the return for your pump. The main question that everybody does ask me is, how big should the chambers be? How much volume of space for the refugium? My wife's making fun of me. And just the overall. Just think of all your equipment, like as far as your pumps, your protein skimmer, and how you want to do the layout inside this sump. I do have this old Odyssey protein skimmer that I was using in my tank behind me. And this is what I want to talk about. I added this fin here for adjustment here. So I do suggest that when you're going to do a sump, make sure that you figure out what equipment you are going to put in this sump. It does make a big difference. I did my brother's 10-gallon refugium for his 30-gallon tank, and one of the issues we did have was not enough space in this chamber here. So what we did, we ended up putting his, he has a 1500 reel, which is a nice quiet pump, and it does fit in here with the refugium, with the protein skimmer. The other question I do get is what thickness of glass we are using, and I do use 1/4-inch glass. You can use DS double strength 1/8-inch glass, and also you can use 1/4-inch Lexan plexiglass, also known as plexiglass. However, on the 1/4-inch plexiglass, depending on what silicone you use, you do need to use a pretty strong silicone. This is the silicone that I use. Can you zoom in on this? This product is made by General Electric. It is a green silicone, as far as it is reef safe, and it's pretty strong. Right now that I'm in the subject of the silicone, when I do my refugium, I did the one behind me here, I only caulk one side. And the reason I do that is because it's very hard to get between these baffles here. These baffles, you got within 3/4 of an inch. So let me kind of go over that and how I do. I have already pre-cut some 3/4-inch wood, which I use as blocks for the bottom here, on the middle baffle here. I am gonna cut. The reason I kind of use the old tank, maybe you guys have a tank that you guys want to reuse. So I'm going to show you how to cut this out, clean it, and the overall how to remove the glass if you've already done one, so that way the next tank that you do, it bonds perfectly. So let me go over the stuff that you're going to use. You are going to need, like I said, the wood, and this is 2 by 3/4. It's you get this stuff at your Home Depot. Go to the back of Home Depot, and they have a bunch of fall-up pieces or cut-up pieces. They give it to you for like 35 cents for 2 foot to 6 feet. So then I have pre-fabbed and cut already my dividers. Make sure that when you cut these dividers, you want them to sit below the brim of this tank, and the reason is for that, like on the 10-gallon tanks, this is actually maybe like an 1/8-inch glass. You don't want to put too much pressure on this glass because it will break. So make sure that these are on the inside and below the brim of this tank. How I do it, well, let me keep going over the stuff I'm going to use before I get too ahead of myself. I do work with glass, and what we use they're called slicks. These are the slicks that I use, and these you could find at a glass shop. They're pretty pricey. So what I did do, I'm going to use some household items, like a plastic spoon for caulking and tooling the inside, because you only have to use your finger, and it works real good. You want it to push against the caulking, against the glass. That way you get a nice finish. You don't get that really squirrely look. I hate the way that looks. You are going to need some kind of razor knife to clean off the glass or clean up excess of caulking. You will also need some square blades, utility blades. You're going to need some nice tape measure. And I'm going to show you how to measure the glass and cut the glass. I have a piece of DS glass here. You're going to need some blue tape. I don't have my Irwin clamps at work, but I'm going to use this. But I did make a Charlie bar to wedge between the wood. That way the glass doesn't kick back. And a sander with 120 grit to get rid of the sharp edges on the glass. You're going to need a caulking gun. Home Depot caulking gun. Kind of inexpensive, like you get them for $8, $10. Windex. And you're going to need a nice glass cutter. Or you could get a cheap glass cutter from Ace Hardware store for like $2. It doesn't have to be something super expensive. This works fine. A grease pencil for glass, or you can use a Sharpie. And a utility knife right here. The roll paper towels for cleanup on the caulking. And then have a nice straight edge to cut your glass. And of course, some nice gloves for when you're cutting the glass. So let's kind of get started. Like I said, before you do the layout, I'll show you how to do the layout on your glass aquarium. And what I do, I'll show you my grease pencil, and I'll lay it out right here again. Try to zoom on this, okay? So once you get your setup and you want to do your glass aquarium, figure out how much room you need for your sump, pump, and whatever heater. If you're going to put live rock in this chamber, personal preference, what you want to do. So what I do first, this is 7.5 inches. I'm measuring from the edge of the corner here, and I'll measure down right there. 7.5 inches. Let me get my square. I forgot about my square. Get a speed square, combination square, works fine. And then you can get this at Home Depot also if you don't have one. And you just put it on top of the brim of the tank like that, and just mark your 7 inches. I don't know if you're gonna pick this up with the camera. You can probably see it. And then measure now. So the first piece you're gonna cut is gonna be this one. This will be your second. You're gonna pretty much cut them at the same height. The only difference is your blocks. You're gonna put it underneath your, and I'll show you right now. So now that you have that dimension, and you measure your second dimension, which is 6.5, and I'll put my 6.5 mark, and you make your mark. And now you know where your glass is gonna sit. Do the same thing to the other side. Measure over 7.5. Put a mark. Give yourself a reference where you're going to be at, and do the same thing to the next baffle. And now you have your layout. Whatever you do on this side is going to be exactly the same thing you're going to do on this side over here. So now that you have that, let's cut out the glass. Because for those of you, maybe you're going to use a used tank or something, and this is the best way to cut. You want to approach, when you cut glass, you want to approach it in 3 different corners. You do 3 cuts. Silicone can be pretty tough, so what you do, you approach your glass, you do a cut straight up, and then you cut it, and you peel away. So I'm going to cut this piece right here, just like that, and then I'm more of an approach this way. And that's already cut that side. Just go like this, go straight up. And the same thing on the bottom. The bottom is kind of cut across, a little more tough. For those of you, if you ever need to do a glass replacement, try to get in here with the camera, yeah? Can you take the camera off? Oh, you got it? So now you got it pretty loose. You can see it's coming loose here. I'm going to show you how to get the inside dimension on this too. And what also works great, which I left in the kitchen, is a little skinny utility knives, or little skinny ones. You have the long extension blade, but they're kind of dangerous. You never used it before too. They break easy. Blades break easy. So here we go again. Put the blades to the bottom here. Yeah, I got some nice background music. My daughter back there. And here's a piece of glass here. I'm going to show you how to clean it. Lay this aside over here. I want to take the camera off and kind of show it over here. And here comes that razor blade. Let's clean this off real quick. As you can see, it's one of those square blades. It's real sharp. You gotta be very careful. It's better if you can use them by hand like that. The other one woke up. So now you go straight down. And there you go. Feels off pretty easy. Go along the bottom, and I'm gonna scrape across the bottom. This is my backup refugium I have. I use it as a quarantine tank sometimes, so I use it once in a while. Okay, so this is the one. So this is the one. Oh, my kid woke up. So this is the one that has the gap underneath. As the water comes in. On this side, it goes over this baffle, comes up, and it goes over the other side. So this is a little different than the other one I had. Obviously, it won't fit underneath there. But let me cut the glass now again. I'll cut that out. This is the same caulking that I used on this tank right here. So, as you can see, just with one layer on there, it's pretty tough. You need a whole lot of caulking. You can see it's still on there. Cut and cut. Right now, okay, in your room. Okay, so there goes the second piece. And what I'm gonna do, I am gonna remove this Lexan. See, this is what I wanted to show you. You see how easy that came off? All it's doing is keeping a nice little, I want to call it structural. This is the reason that I really don't like using the plexiglass, because it doesn't bond as good as glass. That was a good example that it's not bonding as quite as good as glass. So for that reason, I prefer to use glass. However, I did use this baffle because the way I made it is adjustable. So if you want to kind of slow the water down to create this chamber here, if you want to put like some kind of protein skimmer, and you want to elevate that water, this works kind of nice, and the water has to travel that much higher, and you could adjust it, which is a cool thing, but you know. So here it goes. That's that baffle. And what I did, I elongated some, I drilled some holes. If you guys want to try something like this, I drilled some holes here, and then I cut them. I cut them with a hacksaw, and I cut through it, and now it allows. And all this is a stainless steel bolt. Make sure it's stainless steel. And these are nuts for like you can find this at a hardware store at Home Depot, with where they sell the parts for the toilets. So it's kind of nice, so it won't rust on you. So let's clean this up. So here we go. We'll clean the inside of this tank. And see, this is why I like using this scraper, because it cleans it really nice and clean. It doesn't leave a lot of excess on the tank. Look at that. This comes right off with this scraper. There's a little bit of water here still. Not too much, but there's some water here. So let's clean this out. Show you guys. I'm gonna grab the camera. I should kind of give you a close look of what it looks like. I hope this is being helpful to you guys, the information I'm giving you guys, because like I said, I got a lot of comments and people keep, asking me the thickness of the glass and everything that goes on. Vacuum this out. So let me show you guys. Kind of what's going on in here. As you can see, I cleaned the excess out, and you can see the third baffle I did on this sump right here, and it has a little water slit right there. That way it lets the water out. Look at this. You can see this one in detail. How I did this side, very nice and clean caulking, not a lot of excess all over the glass. You can see it from this side over here, very clean. And now that's my layout for the next pieces right there, so that way I know where they go. And I'm gonna show you guys now how to measure this stuff for the new glass, since I do have the old glass. So let me put this back over here. Sorry about this. My kid woke up and he's over there crying. Alright, so let's scrape the rest of this silicone excess right here. That. Just kind of go back and forth and clean the inside right here, nice and clean. All right. So now we're going to clean the glass I just pulled out. So let's scrape off any caulking. Take the sides first. Go. The other side now. So now let's get the flat one. Put that off right there. So this one's clean. A little bit of soap on there, but it's alright. Then the other one. This, and a nice edge with a new caulking. The back has nothing on it, so. Alright, so that's pretty clean. Alright, so now what you want to do, let me clean the inside first, make sure there's no moisture in there. So it can dry out. Clean the sides right here. It's a lot nicer if I'm using a new tank, but if I don't, I'll have to do it this. Okay. So now, let me just show you guys that both pieces of glass, one is slightly bigger than the other. Okay. But I think what I did, I'm trying to remember what I did on the last time. You want to use the bigger piece on the outside. Just like that. So that's the layout right there. And what I do, put this piece of wood here. Get my clamp. Zoom in this way. Matter of fact, let me bring it in close. So you guys get a better angle of what I'm doing here. Alright. So let's put this one here. This is the first one. Put this right here like that. That one I have to hold it. And this is my second piece like this. And remember by that Charlie bar, what I did, I cut it at, I don't know if you can see it, I cut it like in an angle so it's not perfectly square. The reason I do this is to put pressure on it. So now that piece of glass cannot move. And there you go. There goes that piece. So this piece is the one that takes the little blocks on the bottom. So what you want to do, you want to lift it up like this, let it overhang like that, and here, this is where the blue tape comes in place. I'm leaving this on this right now, so just lean it like this so it won't move on you. Get a couple pieces of strips of tape, put them on the side right here like that, just to have them if you need them. And here I put that piece of glass like that. Tape it like that, and that holds it. It ain't going nowhere now. Well, remember the other two pieces of tape that I have? Those are right here. I hope this is a good angle for you guys. I'm trying it this way a little bit. There you go. So now I'm ready to caulk this. So when the water comes in, it travels up and it overflows into the refugium. But let me show you how I'm gonna do this setup right here from this angle right here. So then this piece is the same size as this one. Now how I get the gap that I required for this, I put this stake right here, and I put this stake right here. And there you go. Now it's perfectly straight. My layout lines up right here, and what I do is I'll hold another piece of tape right here, and there you go. So let me show you guys how to caulk this now, and I'll show you guys how to cut the glass. I still haven't forgotten. So here we go. So on the first piece, on this piece right here, what you need to do is just caulk the sides here from the bottom straight up. Let me get the side. Bottom straight up, and this, and then you do the same thing to the other side. So let me show you guys how to cut the caulking. So this is how you cut the tip on it. It's a regular tip like that. And what you do is, let me show you a close-up of the silicone that I'm using. Oh, wrong way. Alright. And it doesn't have to be a very, don't just cut it, don't cut it with the caulking gun. Cut it like this. Just give it a cut. Go in about maybe that much. And just cut it. You want it to be tapered. You don't want it to be too pointy, too flat. That way you get into that glass. So let me get the caulking in now. We got the first piece in now. So this is how you do it. So ready, guys? I don't know if I can show you. Damn, I wish my wife was here. We get a better angle of this. I'll show you guys the best that I can here without my wife being here. So now, you can see, yeah, you can kind of see it. Hold the gun with the thing pointing up like this so it doesn't get on the inside of the glass right here. And you go straight up. Let me get it. Oh, hold on. Have a paper towel at hand, just in case. And what you want to do on your first one, just put it on the corner right here, so you don't have an explosion when it comes out. This tube feels a little weird. Oh, sorry, forgot to poke it. This one does have a sealer on it. There you go. Gotta poke the aluminum foil on there. It has a little strip of aluminum foil on there. I forgot to do it. So you get it like that, and just kind of poke it, and now it should come out a little better. To get it going, just kind of clean the tip like that, roll that back. Like I said, hold the caulking gun straight up like that. Back up a little so you can see what I'm doing. Hold the caulking gun straight up like this, and just, you don't have to put way over, kill it, you know, just kind of go slow. Make sure it's going straight, 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 all the way up. Right when you get to the very top, kind of ease off and pull off. Now this caulking does skim up real fast. And just for you guys, this is the toolers. This is a butter knife right here, and this is an actual slick. So I'm gonna use this right here for you guys. So you know, when you're doing it at home, you have something. Everybody has these. And I'm gonna go straight up that glass. You can see that puddle. That's it. Very clean. You don't have too much left over like that. Kind of clean it with your paper towel. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Okay, so now let's do the other side. And this side, I'm gonna do the same thing. Let me turn the camera around this way. Alright, that should work. Sorry guys about the video jumping around, but this is kind of the reason I haven't done this video, because I've had no time. I had nobody to come help me do this. I really wanted to get a nice quality and different angle. So there you go, start coming out. Make sure it's pushing through, and right there at the end, get off the caulking and let off. And make sure you pull the tail off so that way the caulking doesn't keep seeping out. And that looks good. Looks really, really good. And just pull it straight up. And that looks good. You should only be really doing it once. If you do get a lot of excess and it looks kind of crappy looking, this is how you do it. What you want to do, I'm going to show you with the camera here. You want to use your finger as a guide. You see that? You want to put, this is the blunt side of the blade. You want to use your finger as a guide, and what you do is you're going to rest your finger against the glass. So let's say you want to clean this side right here, right? This side right here. You get your finger and you overhang it on the blade, touching the glass, depending how much you want to clean off. And that way you get a nice clean, get that excess off, and you get it on that blade like that. That's how that's how we lasers do it. To get a nice clean. Same thing with the other side. Now I overhang it with this finger. My middle finger, put it against this side of the glass, and clean any excess off this side right here. As you can see the caulking excess right there. And then you just put it on your towel and you fold it over. And you know what? I'll do this side too. Even though it does look good, just to show you guys how fast it is, how long it should take you guys to do it. I do this for a living. I do skyscrapers. I don't do tanks, but we put glass in. That's what we do. So let me get a little bit more off of it so I can show you guys nice. And there goes the excess right there. Alright guys, so this is the first piece. That's done. That's 100%. That is done. So now, what I'm going to do, send this tank this way. Let's do the second piece. So this is how I do it. So now I get the 2 pieces of wood right here, rest them in between that glass right here. Don't put it to the edge all the way to the corner because you're going to mess up your caulking. And you get the other piece of glass right here. And And this was gonna sit all the way to the ground. See, now that doesn't allow you to mess up your caulking. It's nice and tight. And there goes this tape we were talking about over here. Now it's all nice and ready. Tip it as low as you can right here. And just put it to just tuck it behind this wood right here. It should not go anywhere. And there you go. There goes your second baffle. Now it's clean, it's ready for caulking. And we'll do the same procedure, but this time we're gonna do this side, the opposite side, and the bottom. So we're gonna get this bottom here. I do the sides first and then the bottom. So let's do the same thing again. So you come straight up. That's that. There's that butter knife at. Same paper towel, just be neat with it. And just go straight up. Make sure this is gonna make it nice and smooth. It pushes the caulking to the glass. It pushes it through the glass. Because when you cut the glass, you don't want to cut the glass, when you measure it, you don't want to measure the glass too tight. You want to give it some tolerance, that way the caulking does seep in on the sides right here. So let me turn this tank around this way now. Get rid of this thing here. Alright. So now let's do this other side now. Get the very bottom. Flip the gun, get the caulking going. And come straight up. Get off the caulking. Step right there. Alright, there it is. Now that's the other side. Look at the caulking. It's clean. A clean tooler is a happy tooler. So keep them clean. I'm using the cutting part on the cutting knife towards the outside and the other side too, so just kind of use it away. And then come straight up. And there goes the other side. Now both sides are done. I'm gonna say it looks good. I don't really even need to clean it. The overall looks good on it. Now let's caulk the bottom. And the bottom really doesn't have to look real pretty. It's a little harder to caulk, but what you do, you put your gun in, keep the tip, I'm gonna say it again, keep the tapered of the tip towards the glass. So you wanna keep it in the corner. This is the top of the glass right here, and this is the top. You wanna keep it at an angle with the pointed part towards the bottom of the glass. So then you get this piece right here. And like I said, the bottom says it has, you're sitting on top of caulking. You want to put a little bit more caulking on there because of the gap. There's a bigger gap in the bottom, so you want to put a little bit more caulking, a little bit more access. It doesn't have to look real pretty. And you're gonna have, when you clean this off with the tooler, it's gonna be a lot more excess of silicone. So let me kind of show you what it looks like, because it looks a little different. You want to put more silicone on that. And let me show you. There it goes. See that silicone there? You see how much more of that is in there? So you want to see, this is very minimal, but it looks clean. It's not going to come apart. And then the bottom, you see the very corner right there? That's what you want to avoid right there. And I'm going to put more caulking on that. You see the gap between the glass? The glass is sitting on top of the old silicone that they made the tank with, so that's why the gap is there. So you want to add more silicone to that. So let me get this camera set up again, and I'll show you how I do that. Let me put more silicone in that corner, because that will leak, that will fail. And the bottom is very critical, because when you do put your mineral mud in there, you don't want that mud seeping out. Because that water is going to come in there and it's going to want to travel underneath that glass. So that is very important. that the bottom is caulked 100%. So, with that said, let me get on the other side here. Let me make sure that this thing is recording. Alright, so I'm gonna put the knife, where am I at? I'm gonna put it like this. So it scrapes towards the back, to the bottom. So here you go. Go back the other way with it. Press against that glass. You want to put a press against the glass. If you feel that it needs more silicone on it, put more silicone on it. Better put a little bit more silicone in this area than later on when you're filling this up to check it that it is leaking water in there. So make sure that you do use a lot of silicone. I'm having a hard time with that tooler because it's not as concave. This one's a little bit. These what these are made for, so this is gonna push it back. And the axis on the corners you want to scrape back towards the old caulking. So you go like that. So right now everything is looking good. I don't see no daylight. It looks like the caulking did its penetration underneath the glass. So I'm gonna call this good. So that looks good. Let me give you a close-up of what this looks like now that it's been tooled and worked on there. And after this, I'm gonna show you guys how to cut the glass and how to measure it. So you can see there's no penetration there. It's 100% sealed and it's tooled. You could use your finger if you want, but I'd rather use that tooler. And you can see now that this thing in a couple hours it'll be set. It'll be by morning. This is done. This is a done deal. The caulking will be 100% cured, and you don't have to worry about really nothing else. So that's that. So step 1 and 2 is the same. The only thing you have to do now is just make sure that that you do the same step on the other side of this aquarium. I like to use the 2 baffles because it is, to me, it works better. However, you could let this thing fill up all the way up and let it overflow on this side over for the return pump. But this is the way I've done my refugiums. The actual refugium that I have in my tank is 100% different than this. I did a different approach because I'm using a 30-gallon tank, and I put my old wet and dry inside of it. And what it is, it's sitting here in the middle, and I drilled 3 holes on the acrylic. This is my refugium at the end right here, and it overflows with a little waterfall right here, and the water travels down this channel or to the back of my 2 pumps. So this is a little different, but the main thing on this right here is make sure that the tank that you're going to use is going to fit underneath your stand, and get inside dimensions. That way you know 100% it's going to fit in there. So now that this is done, this will dry by tomorrow morning. It will be set, and you're ready to to have your tank working. So now let me show you how to measure this stuff. And what I want to do is kind of show you the way to measure. So when I measure the glass on this, what I do, I go like right here that says I'll get an inside dimension, which is, it says 12 inches. It's 12 and an eighth, okay? So what I do, instead of 12 and an eighth, I go 12 inches to give you that 16th tolerance on each side. So that one, when you're gonna fit the glass, sometimes the glass, or you cut it out a square a little bit, you don't fight the glass on each side. So it fits a little, it's better to be a little loose than be super, super tight, because the glass will break. If there is a point that is sticking out on the edge of the glass and for some reason it's super tight, you want it, you don't want that glass on glass. That glass will start running, it'll start breaking. So give yourself 1/8 of an inch to maybe almost 3/16. And always get 3 dimensions. Remember, as you get to the back, it's gonna get tighter. As you get to the middle, it's gonna get looser because the way the glass will bowl. So what I do, I go, like right here, it's tight. I got, way at the back, I got 12 and 1/8, 12 and 1/8 heavy, and 12 and 1/8. So, because like I said, the glass bowls. So, rule of thumb is give yourself 1/8 of to 3/16 of an inch tolerance. Now, you got 12 inches by 9 and 1/8. So that's your height. And just write it down on a piece of paper so you don't forget. And that way you know what you're gonna, what you're gonna cut the glass at. This piece, the first piece you want to cut a little bigger, just because you want that water as it comes in. You don't want to over splash it on this side or something. And as it rises up, it comes up into the refugium part of the tank. And the same thing with this piece. You want it the same height as this one, and this piece right here, you want it the same height as the first one. This has a third baffle, and like I showed you, I put a slit in that. So when the water rises, it rises a little higher, and I don't have to worry. And if it overfills, it comes in through the slit, which is kind of nice, and it keeps it kind of quiet. So I did this approach on this tank. But the reason I did it too is to overhang my protein skimmer, which I have right here. And this tank overhangs right here. You can see it. And that's kind of the way that I elevate the protein skimmer. Let me show you from this side, because you're not getting the true angle of it. There you go. So you see how I did that slit, and it elevated this. Most protein skimmers, you gotta elevate them to a certain area. I don't like putting the protein skimmer on the inside or with the refugium. You don't want it stirring up the mud in there. So what you want to do, you want to I'd rather have it on this side over here. And you could put your your heater in this area. You could put a pump. So when the water comes in this way, it's draining into this one with a filter sock. And you could buy those acrylic filter socks. You can make it out of acrylic yourself and put the filter sock on this side over here. Put the filter sock on this side. And if this is going to be your last chamber on the other side, you want to allow room to put an Aqua 300, a real 1500, 2500 in this area. Allow room in this chamber depending on what you want to use. So like I said, this is a 15-gallon tank. This tank here is a 30-inch by 12 3/4. So it's a good sized tank. So, you have plenty of space in there to do what you want to do. Now, let's cut the glass in. So let's set this up right here. And I'm gonna do a quick cut because this piece of glass is kind of oversized. It's a little oversized, so let me cut this right here. I'll show you guys how to cut glass. Let me get this stuff out of the way here. I hope you guys like this video, and I hope it's better than my first video. I'm doing a little bit more in detail on how to do it. So first off, this is your glass cutter here. Okay, so I'll show you how simple it is. Main thing about glass, you want to have a clean surface to cut. I'll use that as a clean surface. You don't want the diamond wheel when you put a pressure on it to be jumping all over the place. Look at how easy it is. Put it. You know, you check it, you hear for it. That's the sound it makes when it's really clean. And when you do your money cut, you apply a little bit more force and you'll hear the difference on the glass cutter. Like that crackling noise. And you put the glass cutter right underneath the glass like that. You don't want to let it sit too long. That's as simple as it is. That's it. That's how easy it cuts. So when you're measuring, this is how you do it. Let me get a little closer here so I can show you guys. Telling me I have 5 minutes of battery here, which is not good. So you measure over, and let's say, you know, it's 9 inches, but I'll put 7. You measure like that. You measure 7 again. Make sure that you check your square corner where you're gonna cut it before you cut it, so that way you're not out of square. You check your square corner. If it lines up perfectly, you have a square corner. If it doesn't, something's wrong. So you gotta do a new cut to make it square. And once you have what you're gonna wanna need, it's a ruler, a thin ruler. You don't want a big fat one. You wanna put it just like this. And you just lay it right on the edge of the glass. Kind of burn the line that you made. And you just kind of put it on there. See, you can hear it, it's kind of jumping around a little bit. So you run your finger on it just like that, gets it, whatever's on the way. There it is. It sounds good. So now you do your money cut. Put this to the side right here like that. I should be wearing my gloves, but I'm very comfortable around it. So then you put, and there you go. Apply pressure to it. 1/4 inch glass is gonna take a little bit more force. And now all you do now is really, I'm kind of worried about this battery. It's telling me 3 minutes. Hold on, guys. Let me put the charger on this thing. All right, so now I plugged it in. I don't want it to die on me here. What you can use a piece of sandpaper by hand. You can cut a piece of wood like this. Obviously a 2x4. They have those belt sanders that come in a roll. I mean, it's like you wrap it around. Or you can even use a belt sander like this, plug it in, and hit the sides. And what you want to do is, I don't want to plug it in because my daughter fell asleep. You want it laying down like this on the edge of the table like that. Put it like that. And as you turn it on, just let the sander vibrate back and forth on this glass. You could take the sharpness off the glass literally just by rubbing the glass down like this. And that's enough to take the sharp edge away from the glass. And then you turn it around like this again. Let me get rid of this right here. Do the same thing. You can hear it grinding that glass. And that's taking off the sharp edge of it. You see? You don't feel nothing no more. So that takes the rough edge. However, when you do this, when you first cut the glass, before you do anything, and once you get it taken, you get all the edges off the sharp edges off the glass. You do all 4 corners, and then you just clean it with Windex, let it sit on the side, let it dry, and that's pretty much what it takes to do this refugium build. So. I hope once again that this video has been kind of helpful to you guys. I'm sorry that my cameraman had to go with my my little kid. Let me get over here. And I hope again, like I said, get down here. I hope this video's been helpful to you guys, and appreciate all the comments, all the good comments on my last video. And I hope this video has been more helpful to you guys. That way, you could do your refugium to your custom build. And like I said, it's a simple project. It doesn't take that long. Whatever it took to do that and cut the glass, it doesn't take that long. And just repeat the same steps on the other side. So once again, guys, Cannon Exercise signing out. Peace. And subscribe, guys. Hit the like button on this video. And appreciate all the new subscribers, guys. Thanks.